Get this, everyone, a recent poll has suggested more than 2/3 of Brits do not think so-called trans women should be allowed in female-only spaces. This is a bit of a massive issue. I personally, it's such a divisive issue because I know that some people's eyes will go, oh, God, trans thing again. I personally think this is such an important issue because it is affecting so much now, whether it's syllabuses at school, the education that children are getting. I think it's been normalised, this whole notion that a kid can just be a boy and then decide tomorrow that he's a girl and off you go and into surgery you go, young man, and there's a conveyor belt. It troubles me no end. Where do you stand on this, Alex?
I think you're right, and I admire your perseverance on it because I think that there's a very small group of people in society, but very vocal and quite influential online at least, who have completely the diametrically opposite view to you and vociferously pursue anyone they see as being
they would hate me. They would regard me as a TERF and a whatever.
Correct, and it's that group that has managed to take someone as meek and mild as J.K. Rowling and turn her into a culture warrior. It's that group that will seek to besmirch the name of anyone who says that there is such a thing as a woman, it's an adult human female, and to suggest otherwise is a fantasy. And it's that group that has encouraged the activity of things like the Tavistock Centre, which hasn't just affected the lives of many misguided adults, it's also severely impaired the future of many children upon whom I think life-affecting, life-changing hormone treatment should never be conducted.
I agree, and I know that people are divided and split over this, but I would kind of implore everyone, this is an issue we have to focus on, have to be across, I would argue, for the protection of children. Nigel,
yes,
you're looking at me very perplexed. Why?
We start on the basis of whether or not you accept gender dysphoria as being a genuine condition that needs treatment.
I do.
Well, in which case, then, we start with the position that there are such things as trans women and trans men.
No, I don't have that view. So I completely agree that there will be somebody, that there'll be a few people out there that have the condition, the medical condition that you just referenced, that will feel within themselves that they are not who they are and they want to present as a different gender. I completely accept that, and it must be awful. It must be horrendous to feel that, to live that. But then
a trans woman must be a woman.
No, to me, a trans person is a trans person, someone who does not want to live.
So a separate gender?
Yes, as someone who does not want to live as their biological reality. I wish them no harm, I wish them no ill, but a man declaring that he is a woman, he is not the same as me.
Right, OK. Well, it is certainly true that if you are a biological man, then I would agree with the premise of the question that you don't use women-only spaces.
But you trot out that sentence, respectfully, you trot out that sentence that trans women are women.
Yes, I do.
And that's not true.
So you think a trans woman is a woman?
Yes.
So what's a woman?
Well, I mean, a trans woman can be a woman, and a woman can be a woman.
No, Nigel, what is a woman?
OK, a woman the biological sex and gender is different, so you can be biologically a woman.
Which is what?
An adult
human female.
Don't answer for him, because he's trotting out this sentence and everyone does it. And I don't think, respectfully, you know what you're talking about.
Okay.
What are you talking about? When you say a trans woman is a woman, what do you mean?
I believe that a woman can have a penis.
But look, and are you saying that with a straight face?
Yes, I am, yeah. Because I believe that it is you're absolutely right, it affects very few people, and what they want to do is get on with their lives, but I'm accepting that people have the right to self-identify in the gender of their choosing, especially if they've suffered because of the sex that they have previously.
See, I don't know where we go. How have we reached a point in 2023 where people with straight faces, and you're a good man, you're someone I respect, and you think it's factually accurate to say a woman can have a penis? Yeah. They cannot. If you've got, and I'm so sorry, because you'll be eating your tea, you'll be having your, I don't know, your pie and mash or whatever.
And my Twitter feed is now filling up.
But surely you must know that that's not accurate.
We're so far down the rabbit hole now. One's merely paying lip service to the latest fad of the day when one says, no offence, Nigel, a woman can have a penis. It's so plainly, self-evidently untrue that only a left-wing journalist could think it. I suppose there's some social scientists as well. If you ask me as a man to call you Barbara, I might, because I'm polite. But you have no right to compel me to believe that you are in fact a woman, and you have no right to command the rights and treatment of someone who actually is a woman. To directly contradict your position, in my view, a woman does not have a penis and never has.
But where do you draw your line in denying reality? So, like, you know, you're currently saying that a woman can have a penis, and I find that absurd, not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do.
Where do you draw the line then with faking identity, like faking reality? So, for example, is the next stage going to be a biological age? If a guy sits there and says, I'm not a 45-year-old guy, I'm a 2-year-old, so I want to go to a kindergarten.
Well, I mean, that's like saying, you know, can you self-identify as a chihuahua? Clearly not. There are
so where's your line then?
My line is on gender and sex.
But it's basically
so biological sex and then gender being two different things. You mentioned schools, which actually I think are a really good example. Young people don't care that there are young people in schools where people are transitioning and they're perfectly happy about it. The only issue that's come up, and a teacher I was talking to the other day mentioned this, when this happened, they were perfectly happy with a boy becoming a girl. What the girls were unhappy about was her changing in their changing room, and they made different arrangements for that. So if you have a common sense approach to it, all these things are soluble.
You know, I'll say what a common sense approach to this is, because you say, well, the children were happy to accept this. Children would be happy to sit there drinking full-fat Coca-Cola, eating chips, McDonald's, and all of the other junk foods available to them all day, every day. They'd be perfectly happy to love that and accept that. As adults, we then come into the room and we sit there and we say, right, kids, you might think that this is what you want to do with your life and all the rest of it, but as adults, we now need to come in and set some boundaries and all the rest of it, because we care for you and we want the right outcomes for you. We want to guide you and help you. And don't you worry about this when you're going around saying that women can have a penis, which is not true. If you've got a biological makeup of you've got your tickle tackle downstairs, you're not a woman. And I can't, I'm going to just throw it open.
Well, the argument is so polarised that, I mean, the two sides just don't seem to meet along
matters. Nigel, reality matters. And when your side of the argument deny basic reality, it is an incredibly slippery slope.
You're prepared to accept at the moment, as far as I can see, 4 genders. So you're prepared to accept male-female, biological male-female, and also accept a trans man and a trans woman. So we have 4 genders.
No. You've got a male.
There are men and women.
You've got a male, a female, and if you want to have this category of a trans person who absolutely should be respected, treated with dignity, should be equal in society, absolutely fine. But you are absolutely fundamentally denying basic biological reality when you trot out
But what gender
sentences.
is that trans person?
It's not a different gender. You have men, you have women, and then within each of those you might have a very, very small subset of people who are before self-harm and after self-harm. And the idea we should encourage them to go down that route, or who like to play dress-up, what we used to call transvestites, and like to live as if they are the other gender without self-harming. And, all fine and well and good and the stuff of pantomime, but the idea we should encourage it in the end, or send them to educate children.
But it's not a matter of encouraging it, it's a matter of actually not standing in the way.
Of course you're encouraging it when you say a woman can have a penis,
Well,
Nigel.
I mean, all I'm saying is that, well, certainly it's not a matter for governments, as far as I can see, apart from not to put obstacles in the way of people who want to transition.
Well, there you go. You've heard different sides on that story. Strong feelings on this one, but I make no apology for revisiting this subject, because I personally believe it is one of the most important topics right now in our society, because it will define the futures of a generation of children.